Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Purple People Podcast. I am Kyle West, reminding you to check us out on Twitter at Purple People Pod, or you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. Accompanying me this week, some say he is half man and half bat, and that he sleeps upside down in a cave. Adam Carlson.
Hey, that was personal information. I told you that in confidence.
Well, there is nothing off the record here at the podcast.
I suppose that's true. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Glad to have you here with us. We're going to be talking some football. We want you to listen and talk with us on Twitter, Facebook, and interact with us whenever you can, really.
Yes, because we have an exciting show lined up for everyone.
Sure do.
How can you not be pumped up after the win we pulled off against the 49ers?
I got to say, I was not expecting that.
Nope.
I was hoping the Vikings would come out and be competitive. I was hoping to see some improvement from the secondary and all that, but I was not expecting what I saw.
I had figured that if we lost this game by a field goal, that we would be tickled pink and saying, look at the improvement that we made over last week.
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
Let's go right into our game ball, though. We've made a little change up. We're going to start calling our winners. We're going to give away a game ball. So who does your game ball go to, Kyle?
About a game ball to our quarterback, Christian Ponder, who went 21 for 35 for 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Exactly
Nice.
the kind of performance that we need from a big-time quarterback in a big-time game for the Minnesota Vikings.
Pardon me. I have a game ball giveaway, too.
All right, who you giving your...
You know that?
Yes, I do.
I'm giving mine to Chad Greenway. What do you think of that?
Great pick.
9 tackles, 2 assists, 2 sacks. The guy's a beast, coming week in, week out, contributing, being that leader on the field. You can't ask for anything more out of the man.
No, he really looked like the Chad Greenway from a couple seasons ago. He's back to playing at full speed.
Sure seemed that way. He was everywhere on the field, making plays, getting tackles. He was back there rushing the quarterback, getting sacks. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I loved it. Loved seeing that from Chad. I know my friend Josh does too. So there's your shout.
Oh, yeah.
There's your shout out for the week.
Well, should we walk right into talking about the offense, or did you want to do some sort of overview?
We got to do our donkey. You forgot about our donkeys. Don't.
Okay. I need you to lead with the donkey because my donkey will follow up your donkey.
Okay, our donkey. That's the flip side of the game ball. There's someone who didn't do too hot for us. I gotta go with Toby Gerhart.
I
Now,
understand that totally.
and I hate to do this because, man, okay, he fumbled the ball 3 times. Well, two. We'll get into this later.
3 fumbles, 2 losses.
He fumbled the ball 2 times, and one time the referees just completely screwed up. But he looked like he was ready to cry, honestly. After all that happened, I don't know if you caught that shot of him, and
Oh, yeah.
I felt so bad for him. He's such a good guy, and you don't want to see that happen. And he got robbed just one time completely by the replacement refs, and then I don't know what happened, but he'll bounce back next week and hopefully have a good game for us. But for this one, he's my donkey for the game.
Now, I'll be absolutely honest. When we talked pre-show about who our donkeys were going to be, I had the same donkey.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. But I decided that there's someone who's just as much to blame for the same mistakes, and that's Bill Musgrave.
Huh. Yeah.
When you see a guy struggling like that to hold on to the ball, and you see his confidence being lost, you see him hanging his head on the sideline, you don't say, hey, get back out there and do it again. Especially when you have so many different options. I mean, Matt Asiata could have went in there and did that.
Yeah. Well, I guess the pro and the con to this is they're looking at it and they're going, You want to build Gerhardt's confidence after a fumble and not bench him.
Well, they went the opposite direction on that one.
Yeah, I think that's what they were thinking, and it clearly didn't work out that way. Uh,
No.
re-
And it sure made Bill Musgrave look like a donkey.
yeah, it did. You're 100% right. You got the game wrapped up. Give it to Matt Asiata, or I understand maybe wanting to save Adrian Peterson, but they
Right.
put him in. They could have put one of our fullbacks, or whoever. There were other options, but man, poor Toby. I gotta say it. I felt so bad for him. I mean, just that.
I felt bad for him, but he made the donkey mistakes himself too. I know a lot of them were stripped and that he was pulled in so many different directions that it was probably nearly impossible to hold on to the ball, but still,
He did, but
that
man,
was painful to watch.
you could tell that he. Any anyway, let's get on with with the game recap. Otherwise, I'll spend way too much time on that topic.
All right, let's go right into talking about Christian Ponder.
Okay. Like I said, I gave him a game ball because he stepped up to the plate big time for us. And do you think that was his best game that he's played for the Vikings so far?
I'll be absolutely honest. I liked what I saw from Ponder, but I didn't absolutely love it.
Okay. I'm curious.
There were a couple times that he forced the ball into situations where it shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
There were a couple times he should have thrown the ball away when he didn't. He had one pass that could have easily been a pick six and changed the whole game around.
it should have been a pick six, but it wasn't. So, it worked out for us. But yeah, no, you're
It did in the long run, but the decision making is still something that he needs to work on. And also, there was one play in the end zone
1-2.
where I don't know if you know what I'm talking about here, but
The
he
one,
lobbed it up to Rudolph, and Rudolph caught it kind of underhanded
huh?
when Adrian Peterson was wide open with nobody around him, right next to him.
Yeah, and if you look at that play again, Adrian is out there doing backflips in the end zone, waving his arms, trying to get Ponder's attention because he was wide open. Now, once again, it worked out because Kyle Rudolph is a beast and can
Right.
pretty much anything that gets around him. But he was uh, he was staring him down on that play, and he should have threw it to Adrian. But
Yeah,
hey,
if Ponder wouldn't have completed that pass to Rudolph, you would have heard a lot of experts complaining. You'd have been seeing film of Peterson standing in the end zone all by himself all week.
on the plus side, though, we get to talk about how great of a catch that was from Kyle Rudolph.
That's true. Even though he did kind of push off a little bit first, but hey, no flag, so why not, right?
Yeah, replacement refs don't catch everything. I wanted to bring up a point on Kyle Rudolph is that how there are three guys on this team that Minnesota, that I felt and a lot of people felt. These are the guys that they need to get going each and every week if we're going to be successful. And that's Adrian Peterson, Percy Harvin, and Kyle Rudolph. Okay.
Absolutely.
Everyone else on this team, and well, Jerome Simpson will be back, so you'll throw him into that mix too, theoretically. But everyone
Right.
else on this team is just kind of take what they give them. Those are the three that I give Bill Musgrave credit for getting involved early and often, and that's the reason why we won this game was getting our playmakers and our stars involved in this one.
Each of those guys you named are really exciting players, and they can make plays from almost anywhere on the field.
Yeah,
Percy Harvin's electric. Absolutely electric. There's no stopping him when he can get the ball in his hands.
he is making.
Several times when you've seen a pass like right at the line of scrimmage, and he'll break two, three tackles. He'll squeeze between two defenders and pick up first downs that people shouldn't. It's crazy to watch.
Yeah, I love watching Percy out there on the field. You're right, they throw those little passes to him, and if it was anyone else on the team, he would be stopped at the line of scrimmage, and he turns it into a 20-yard gain down the sidelines. And he's proven why Minnesota needs to give him a big contract
Right.
midway through or after this season is up.
Now, Adrian Peterson, I really enjoyed watching his game. Even though the stats don't reflect a big game on the ground or a large per carry average, you got to remember this San Francisco run defense is very stout. And you saw the amount of heart that Adrian Peterson ran with if you watched that game. He fought for every single yard he got. It was just so much fight in him that it was great.
Ponder threw him that pass that he had to convert for that first down, and he had two guys on him, and he just fought his way through it, got us the first down yardage, and that's what that's what Adrian brings to this team, and we all know this, so we don't really need to harp on it too much, but it's just so good to have him back so soon and playing at a high level. And yeah, he doesn't quite have the burst of speed that we're used to seeing from him. We haven't really seen any of the really long runs yet, but I have a feeling that that's going to come later on in the season, which
Yeah.
which is good. I mean, that's when that's when you want to see it. I don't want to get too far ahead of us here, but if we can play games like what we played today later on in the season, that's when we're going to need Adrian. If we're playing for a wild card or whatever. Like I said, I don't want to get too far forward, but
Right.
it's just one game and it is week 3, and we caught the 49ers kind of off guard. I think they came in really cocky, thinking that they were going to steamroll the Vikings, and
Yep. Caught them with their pants down. They came in. They thought they could show up and get a win. No. But the main reason why I mention uh, Peterson and Harvin and how exceptional they are is because that is something that we as Vikings fans take for granted. We really do. We expect Harvin to be amazing. We expect Peterson to lower his shoulder and plow through guys and spin off people.
hmm
You understand this isn't normal, right? This isn't what normal people do.
and this is
They are exceptional athletes.
yeah, it's something special to be able to watch Percy and Adrian and some of the other guys that we've got on the team. And when I've watched them up in Mankato at training camp and whatnot, is you're right. It just feels like when you watch Adrian, you're watching someone who's working his way to the Hall of Fame. And we should be blessed to have him on the team. I know I am.
I know something that Christian Ponder's blessed with.
What's
A
that?
good offensive line this year.
Definite.
Christian Ponder was not sacked this week by the San Francisco 49ers, and they are a team that is known to get pressure and force quarterbacks to make bad decisions.
hmm
So that's really impressive, especially for a young guy like Matt Khalil coming out, and he still hasn't allowed a sack this year, and he's playing lights out football. He has proved that his draft position was well worth it.
Oh yeah, I'm very pleased with having Matt Khalil on the line. It's you can tell Ponder has more confidence in his ability to stay within the pocket and try to make throws down the field. Now, the receivers aren't necessarily getting open all the time. That's a topic for another show at another time. But at least the line is giving him the ability to stand there and make those reads. And his Ponder's completion percentage, I believe, is still on top, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked the
I,
stats lately.
I think, and I know going into the game he was the top quarterback in the league for it, and I think coming out of it, he's still got to be darn near the top, I would imagine.
Now, the Vikings offense was clicking for a lot of drives there, and it's bound to get even better because next week we're going to see the return of Jerome Simpson. Now, he might be the guy to come in and stretch the field. He might be there as a decoy to open things up underneath. Either way, if it works, it works, and it'll be interesting to see how he's going to fit into the schemes, especially next week since it's, you know, 3 weeks without him, and now we finally get to see him. It's going to be different.
Well, here's what I think. It's going to take probably a week or two before he gets 100% back into the swing of things. Kind of like what you've seen with the rest of the team. It's taken
Right.
3 weeks into the regular season of playing, 4 quarters of football every week to really, really get back into the momentum and, get their game feet underneath them. So it's going to take probably a little bit for him to get going 100%. But even with having Jerome Simpson out there, even if he only catches two passes that go for 20 yards or more, hey, that's two passes we
Yep.
we haven't had up to this point in the season. So you're already getting the benefits from him. So I would say to all the fans out there, keep your expectations grounded a little bit with him, and just wait for him to grow into the offense as we get further on into the season.
Well, the offense played well this week, but the defense also played well. What did you see that was really different out of the offense?
You mean
Or out of the defense, sorry.
Jasper Brinkley stepped in, and I know we had question marks about how he was going to play, and I just thought he did play lights out, really good football. That was a guy that we needed to see step up. We had Josh Robinson got his first career interception,
He
uh,
definitely did.
great, and I had posted on our Facebook page that someone on the team was going to get an interception, and that was my bold prediction. And Josh Robinson stepped up and got one for us. So yeah, really excited to see that. Hopefully, that's a sign of things to come. I know we've been waiting for someone to step up and make a play on the ball, and there we go. We got one, and Jared
Hopefully they can keep rolling.
they can get rolling. Jared Allen got a sack, so yeah,
Sure did.
things are they're starting to look like a team, and that's what's most exciting about this win.
Now the Vikings haven't been hit too hard by injury, but this week they were without Aaron Henderson.
Hmm.
They had Marvin Mitchell step in, and to be honest, he played a fantastic game. The entire linebacking core was they played so well that you wouldn't even know that there were people missing. And that's amazing to hear that, especially considering they got 2 sacks. They had to play coverage. They were great in run defense. I was very pleased with them. The defensive line still struggled to get some pressure, though, despite Jared Allen getting his sack. I was a little more impressed today with Troy Guion. He played better than he has the last couple weeks, so that made me happy. I saw a lot of pursuit out of Brian Robinson. I didn't realize he had the kind of wheels he has, man. He was chasing the quarterbacks all over the place. But overall, I was pretty pleased. I saw the secondary play a little tighter, which had to happen because they were playing off too far in the Indy game and in Jacksonville.
Which is a sign that this team, not only the players but the coaching staff, is progressing, and they're playing to what the players on this team they're playing to their strengths is what I
Exactly.
was trying to say right there, and that
But this team is so young and inexperienced that it's hard to find their strengths. And I think they're finally developing that and they're seeing who is great where. Because you saw Josh Robinson line up against the speedier wide receivers. You saw Winfield come down and trap Alex Smith sometimes when he was rolling out. And they're finally using these people in ways that really benefit them.
mhm,
And I was so glad to see that.
which is progression, and it's nice to see our relief slash backup players on the team coming in and not just filling a role on the team and
Right.
just kind of blending in and just being a guy out there defensively, but actually coming in and making plays. Okay, you look at
And this week's unit did something really special, I thought. They came in and they played nearly mistake free defense as far as penalties go.
with
You didn't see the defense giving up a lot of first downs because of ridiculous penalties, and that made me so happy because of all the mistakes from last week that just blew my mind.
yeah, I'm with you 110% on that one. After last week's game, uh, you really needed to see them come out and clean up those mistakes. Can we talk about the replacement refs in that fourth quarter yet? Because that is what I want to get to. Can we just get to this already?
Sure.
I know that's what people want to hear. Do we have any idea what happened? Because I was so okay. I threw things on my computer desk. Why did they get extra timeouts and what? Can Can you explain it, Adam? Like, what happened?
Here's the deal. I was watching the game, right?
Okay,
And
were you
I
watching it?
saw that they had 2 timeouts, and they used their third timeout. I said, okay, they're going to try to get the ball back. I get that. Then the challenge flag was thrown.
Which you
I said, okay. So now they don't have a timeout, so now they can't challenge. But the challenge was granted, and once the challenge was approved, then they got their timeout back that they already used, and they got to use that timeout again for another challenge.
which is out. I mean, the oh, okay. Let's the first Toby Gerhart the first time, and this is according to him. He said that the referees blew the whistle and called the play dead. So he put the football on the ground, and then the 49ers picked it up, and then that was when they did the timeout slash challenge the play, and somehow it got turned over. Like, I don't even. This is confusing. It's idiotic. It's stupid. It shouldn't happen. The NFL is lucky that Minnesota went on to win the game because if the 49ers would have won, uh, fans would have rioted in the
Oh
Metrodome
yeah.
over that. I mean, they dodged a big time bullet that Minnesota won that game and that the 49ers didn't win it based on a blown call by the referees because come on, this is the NFL. I've seen better refereed high school football games than this. This is come on, this is supposed to be the I I don't even it's stupid. It's just outrageous and
Now I would understand if it was an isolated incident,
but it
but it wasn't. Another mistake, a huge mistake, was made in the game against Detroit. If you watched the end of that game, a game that could have influenced the whole game, it shouldn't have even gone to overtime. When the Lions threw an interception in the end zone and there was a penalty that wasn't a penalty, and it just made no sense because the refereeing shouldn't dictate how the game goes. I understand sometimes it does. Referees make mistakes, but not this many mistakes. That's unacceptable.
yeah, and the longer this goes on, teams are like we said about Minnesota, okay? It's 3 weeks into we're gonna be coming into the fourth week. Players are gonna get their game legs underneath them, and they're gonna be playing even faster and even quicker, and the game's gonna be speeding up even more, and these referees are just out of their league. The game's too quick for them. They don't know the rules and they are intimidated. Which I'm not gonna lie, hey, I'd be intimidated by some of these coaches yelling at me too, but that should not influence a a a, a referee to give them extra challenges or extra timeouts or it's
No.
and I mean
And there's a reason why these games are running longer. On average, they're running over 15 minutes longer per game, I believe. And that's just because they don't know what they're doing.
because they don't know the rules and they gotta have. Do you know they got like the one guy when they're really screwing up that comes over and like explains the rules to the replacement referees. Like I don't quite know how that system works, but that's that's a bit of a holdup that happens. I mean, if you have to have someone to overlook the referees to make sure they're doing their job correctly, I mean, come on, man. Like
Well, I know that the ending of the show is when I usually do my rant, but this plays so well into my rant, I think I'm going to do it right here before we talk about special teams.
yeah, go right ahead.
All right. Hey, replacement referees. Why do you need to get together and talk about every call? One referee threw the flag. He had to have seen something to make the call. Call it the way you see it. That's your job. And when you're calling it, take a good look at it and see who the player is and what team they play for. And when you have a chance to explain it, use those so that people know what you're talking about and who did what. Watching a game, I shouldn't be this lost about referees. It should not happen. And
Yeah,
that's my rant.
Yeah, that's a great rant, and I know I'm with ya. I know all the fans in the NFL are as frustrated as we are, and
I'm so tired of seeing the circle of referees trying to talk about what happened on the field.
and
So sick of it.
it's only gonna get worse as the season goes on. That's just plain and simple. That's just the fact.
Yeah, it's sad fact though.
Anyway, let's move on
Let's talk about special teams then.
here. What do you
So
got?
Blair Walsh, he's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, that Blair Walsh. He's a pretty decent player on the team. I like
Another 50-yard field goal in the books.
first rookie kicker in NFL history to kick a field goal 50 yards or more within his first 3 games. So there's a nice record for Blair Walsh.
There we go.
Yeah.
Chris Cluey was very inconsistent.
He needs to quit being a political activist and focus on his job. I
Hey,
mean,
but he's getting into politics. He's got his band. He's got football. He's a jack of many trades.
was tweeting about Borderlands 2 right after the game was over, and hey, I know I'm a big gamer too, Cluey, but come on, man, we're counting on you with those punts to get us good field position. So whatever.
Now let's talk about the Vikings' second biggest breakdown. That is the coverage on returns.
Oh yeah, Mike Prefer had to have an aneurysm on the sidelines for those 2 big returns the 49ers had. That was the one after halftime
Yep.
was when I thought for sure I threw my arms up and went, "Here we go again!" Like the Vikings are gonna blow another one, and I thought that was the start of it. But thankfully, they held him to a field goal, but they got to get it cleaned up, and I'm sure they will.
They were so lucky that they had Josh Robinson on that field to catch him
Yes, they were.
because he's got wheels and it's not easy to catch some of those guys. So that's all I have for special teams. So let's take a quick look at next week's game. The opponent, the Detroit Lions. How are you feeling about the Lions?
Well, it all depends if Matthew Stafford is going to be healthy or not. Uh,
That's true. He's undergoing an MRI on his right leg on Monday.
yeah,
He left the game on Sunday and did not return, so we're not sure exactly how severe the injury is. But a Lions team without Matt Stafford is less scary, definitely.
hmm it's one of those games. I called it a coin flip game, and it can go either way. But hey, we should be confident in what our team put on the field today. That if we come out and if we play a solid game of football, hey, we can match up with uh, with a lot of the better teams in the NFL. Maybe we're not gonna win them all the time, but we can at least match up and look competent. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah.
And a positive thing too is that Detroit Lions defense made Jake Locker look like a Hall of Fame quarterback. And let's be honest, Jake Locker is still a young quarterback making a lot of bad decisions. He struggles with accuracy and reads, and for him to come out and throw for 400 yards almost against the Detroit Lions, you can't complain with that as a quarterback.
What
I
I'll
don't see any reason why Christian Ponder can't come out and take the same shots against a depleted Detroit Lions secondary.
well, what I'll be looking for is really how well Minnesota plays on the road, because we should have won at Indianapolis, but we didn't.
That was a winnable game.
It was a winnable game, but we lost it, and it was a road game. And this Detroit game is a road game. So, I mean, I don't know. It could really go either way on how this team is going to play.
The other thing to look at is the Detroit Lions offense. And sure, they scored a lot of points last week and the week before, but this week against the Titans, let's be honest, the Titans defense is terrible.
Yeah.
They're looking absolutely awful.
Oh,
I see no way the Vikings are going to give up 42 points or 44 or whatever it was.
I heard that Chris Johnson tried to find his car this morning, but he couldn't make his way to it because it was more than 20 yards away from the front door of his house.
Ouch, that's not even fair.
Come on, isn't it so funny that
You want to hear something even sadder though?
Okay, what's that?
He was the number one overall draft pick in one of my fantasy leagues.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, that hurts.
Ooh, Christian.
Sorry, David.
Does Christian Ponder have more rushing yards than Chris Johnson?
I don't have those stats, but that's something for you to look up
That's
and post
I
on the
I will put
pages.
I will put that on our Twitter feed after this podcast goes up, so you can look for that stat. I just think it's really funny that after everyone said that Chris Johnson is a better running back than Adrian Peterson, that Adrian comes off that knee surgery and is playing as well as he is. And what is Chris Johnson's excuse?
I don't think he needs one. He gets to go home to a big bag of money.
Yeah, ask Vince Young how well that money lasts once you stop playing good.
Well, that's all I have. What do you have anything to close us on here, Kyle?
I have a closing rant. I don't know. How are we setting for time?
We're good.
We're we're good. Do I have a little bit of time to squeeze it in?
Yeah, we need this anyway. We got to hear this.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Hey, where's everyone at who was our Christian Ponder is a bust and Minnesota needs to move on from him? And where's everyone that's saying that we need to fire Leslie Frazier? Well, where you at this week, huh? Because I don't see anything from you. My Twitter feed was awfully quiet, and the Facebook group was awfully quiet from everyone saying that we needed to move on from Ponder and that Frazier didn't know what the hell he was doing on the field. I don't see you right now, so I mean, come on, well, where are you at? Didn't we say all along that this team, the story of this season was going to be we're going to play hot, we're going to play cold? Well, we played hot this week and we went out and we won. So if we play cold against the Detroit Lions next week, which it could happen, it's probably going to happen. I'm going to go on the record and say that. We're probably going to play cold next week against the Detroit Lions. I don't want to hear a single thing about firing Frazier and benching Ponder for MVT or Joe Webb or you know what, just shut up
Just stop it.
about it. And Ponder proved tonight and throughout his short term here that he can manage a game. Okay, if there's any problems with the team, it's not really from him.
I'm happy with the results I've seen from Christian Ponder. I was questionable when they drafted him, but so far he's come out and he's made me a believer, especially this year.
Oh,
I'm a faithful Vikings fan. I want to see Christian Ponder succeed. I don't understand why fans are so on him, like they want to see him fail. That just blows my mind.
I don't know, man. It's like people are just because he's not a number one overall pick, and it's just automatically the Vikings need to suck to get Matt Barkley next.
Yeah, he's not throwing 50-yard touchdown bombs every drive.
And that's not his fault. He doesn't have Devin Aromashadu is not gonna routinely go out there and make those kind of plays. And Michael Jenkins is in the twilight of his career, and he's still got good hands, but he's not gonna get that kind of separation. And even when Jerome Simpson comes back, we don't have that go-to guy who's going to make those kind of plays, and that's not Ponder's fault. I mean, he takes what's given to him, and he's taking what's given to him, and he's the best in the league at doing so right now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens next week. Let's take it week by week. Let's see how he does. As of right now, his body of work this season is impressive. He's done a lot over the off season to improve. Even Leslie Frazier looks to be a more competent coach, and I don't know. Just enjoy the ride, guys. Watch it, enjoy the ride. Sure, go ahead and criticize, but don't be calling for people's heads already.
You have to think about where this team is going to be next season and the season after. Just imagine this game the way we played if we had AJ Green lined up out there as a wide receiver. I mean, Ponder probably would be making bombs to him down the field as well
Oh yeah,
as to Percy, and then that's opening it up for Peterson and Rudolph, and that's where this team is headed. It just can't all happen in one off season.
definitely. It's exactly true. And I think that will close us out for this week.
You know what?
I'd like to thank every. Whoa, we got more.
Hold the phone. I have,
Oh,
I have,
whoa.
I have another mini rant that
Okay.
I just want to get out there because we didn't touch upon it at all. I thought we were going to, but Randy Moss comes back to Minnesota. Three
Okay.
three receptions for 27 yards. And you guys know how big of a Randy Moss fan that I am. And I have to admit it, it is time, and it is obviously time that Randy needs to call it quits. He is an athlete. He's a good natural athlete. So, assuming he plays out the rest of the season for the 49ers, he's going to continue to have these games where he's got one or two receptions for a couple of yards here or there, but he is not the Randy Moss that you've got to stick double coverage on and really worry about because he's just it's it's not there anymore, folks. And I'm one of the biggest Randy Moss fans that you'll meet, but hey, I got to call it like I see it. I got to give you guys the truth, and that's what I see from Moss. So there you go.
All right. I'll be honest. I didn't expect a whole lot from Moss this game. As a Vikings fan, it was nice to see him, but it was also nice that he didn't light up the team. You know.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's nice to see him, but at the same time, it's not nice to see him not contributing anything because that's not the Randy that we knew, and
Right.
that's
If it's not the guy you remember, it doesn't feel the same.
even the Randy that we got to know in New England. I mean, he's just another guy on the roster at this point, and
Is this Oakland Raiders Randy Moss or is this Tennessee Titans Randy Moss?
this might even be Tennessee Titans.
Oh no,
I mean,
that's not good.
like I said, he's a natural athlete, so he'll have a couple more touchdowns just because hey, he's Randy Moss and he's gonna be able to do it every now and then. But
Oh sure.
yeah,